Welcome. This is New Dad Gaming, a show about fatherhood, gaming, and dads figuring out their gaming lives. I'm Trevor, and I have a 3-month-old.
I'm Gavin. I have a 6-week-old.
And I'm Jeff. I have a 5-year-old and a 2.5-year-old.
So Jeff wins the number game so far.
I think he's got a bit of a head start.
Win, lose,
Never say that in front of your kids. I have the most kids, I lose. Just kind of off the top of your head, guys, how was your week, kid and gaming-wise? Gavin?
Fussy and sporadic, I guess, would be the two main descriptors. No, right now my daughter is a little bit on the fussier side, but it's to be expected. It's kind of that stage. So it's been some later nights, which is kind of like, because right now it's hard to really get much done because she's very, very needy. So it's kind of taken over the amount of time that both my wife and I have in regards to just getting things done, like just simple tasks like housework or sleep. So those two have kind of usurped much of our leisure time. Any leisure time that we have is like passive stuff, like passive entertainment, like watching TV shows or something like that. I've done a bit of gaming this week. I've been able to play a couple hours here and there of Dying Light, and also got to check out the start of the Lovers in the Dangerous Spacetime. Got to play a bit of that, and that was a lot of fun. As I already knew from playing it countless times at various shows and whatnot. And yeah, it's just been a bit of a juggling act. Just trying to find. It's hit one of those prioritization walls, that you get when you are a parent, whether new or seasoned. Sometimes it's just like, okay, well, fun time or hobby time that's got to be set aside, regardless of what the hobby is, because this thing needs to get done, or this responsibility spilled over into time that I usually allot for this responsibility, and it kind of one knocks the other into another zone, and then before you know it, that free time has been eaten up, and you're like, okay, well, try again in a couple days or whatnot.
Except for podcasts. You always make room for podcasts.
Yeah, always make time for podcasts. There's always room for podcasts and Jello.
How about you, Jeff? How was your week?
Well, if you asked me last week, I would have said great, because it was the first week of school.
So it's like, you're doing a happy dance, like just
yeah. School tired them right out. They came home, fell asleep at 7. It was great. I had the whole night to myself. This week, they've adapted. So it is, the energy level is riding high all night, and it's kind of a chore to get them to bed, but I can gain a couple hours at night to do some gaming. But yeah, no, the first week was great. First week back at school was awesome. Second week, it's just they know that they're gonna pace themselves during the day and keep that energy for home. So it's a little bit different.
Yeah, I would play tag, but I need to torture my father when I get back. So count me out. I'm not interested.
Yeah. Only so many good rounds of tetherball, and then it's like, okay, I gotta save some gas for later.
Yeah,
and I guess for myself it was it's great, like, as you're watching your kid grow, especially at this phase. Like Gavin, I'm sure you're in the same boat with a 1-month-old, but this week and a little bit towards the last week, he learned how to grab things, and seeing him interact for the first time, he's hitting this thing, and he actually grabbed hold of something and pulled it so it played music. It's amazing. Yeah. But a kid's brain does not seem to have enough room in it because he forgot how to sleep. So it was just just like a terrible week as far as putting him down.
Well, now the world's so exciting, he doesn't want to sleep. Now that he realizes that, wait, I can move this meaty claw at other objects, and the meaty claw will adhere to these objects and then move them around in space. Like that's like a paradigm shift in his concept of reality. So like, I wouldn't be able to sleep. That'd be like somebody explaining black holes to me and I understand it for once. And it's like, well, I can't sleep after that.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, you might, Gavin. If your kid has a meaty claw, you might want to talk to a doctor. Just like that's what the doctor should tell you. Don't worry, he'll grow out of it. He'll grow fingers.
No,
It'll be fine.
it's a family trait. It's okay.
The Gavin family claw. That's very nice.
Yeah, it's on our crest.
Jeez. Yeah, and so we have a topic for the week, but before we got into that, I did want to propose something to you both. For myself, as far as gaming, the only thing I actually was able to touch, besides a little bit of Lovers in a Dangerous Spacetime, much like Gavin, which just unbelievable what they were able to put together. That was such a great game. I'm excited to play the rest, but otherwise I mostly played Hearthstone. And as you get into it, there's a whole meta game. There's a tournament about to start, and I think you can win like $100,000, and it's nuts. And it kind of gave me the thought, and I'd like to pose it to you both. Now that professional gaming is a thing, it can be a career. Like the recent League of Legends game where the winning team won like $8 million or something absurd like that. You can climb the upper echelons of that and make a career of it. If you went back and you were a young man with time on your hands to dedicate, do you think you'd try to be a professional gamer?
Myself, no. Like I hit kind of a similar fork in the road when I was younger, as far as going into the sport pursuit of something that I was heavily involved in. And there was an opportunity, like a viable one, to kind of take it a little bit more seriously and pursue it a little bit more seriously, or would I focus more on my my academics and my studies in art and stuff like that? I found that I kind of myself personally just kind of thought of it the long game in regards to, okay, well, what happens after, like what happens after I'm too old to pursue this sport anymore, like, you know, when my hips just won't do it, or when these young kids are
you can say it's belly dancing, Gavin. Don't worry.
Yeah, it is. Totally. So yeah, it's just kind of thought about, like, you know, with most competitive pursuits, or at least a lot of them, there is a bit of a shelf life to it. And I think with something like gaming too, gaming is very much things come out so quickly, and sometimes people get attached to one game and they don't pursue the new one that comes out. So I'm not sure what the shelf life to that would be, and what happens when you're done. Like, do you become a professional gaming coach? You know, it's not like another sport pursuit where, like, because like with each game comes a new set of rules, a new set of strategy, a new set of training. It's not like something like your standard sport competition, or even something like poker, where the rules have been around for decades, not really changing anytime soon, and the method to get good at it is still there. So if you're experienced at it, but you're not really top of your game anymore, you still have enough knowledge to pass it on to the next person. I'm not sure if that's applicable for something where the arena changes so quickly and the rules change so frequently. Like, one week it's League of Legends, one week it's Hearthstone, one week it's Rocket League. That things transition so quickly that I don't know whether there's like a career out of it, or whether it's like a short career and then, like, you know, you wind up either just living off of what you won, or spend it all on Lamborghinis and wind up working at GameStop. I don't know.
I'll say for one, when I was younger, I played like a ton of Counter-Strike. So I thought I was awesome at it, like great. Then you get on a server and you just get your butt kicked. So like, to turn that into, you know, like a major league gaming kind of career, those dreams would have been shot down very quickly. I thought I was the best in the world, and you get online, and no, it goes out the window. So I don't know, maybe with more practice.
Yeah, and I guess what kind of got me thinking about too, I read an article on IGN today where the current #1 guy in that place with Hearthstone is this, or of a previous season anyways, he's a 14-year-old kid. And he's going to school, everything's going fine, and he's playing, like, he said he roughly plays about 10 hours a week. Now you look at something like League of Legends, or oh man, I'm blanking on the other big one. Yeah, you look at some of those like clickier games, and those guys are like they're playing 12 hours a day. Like, it looks pretty miserable, honestly. much like any sport, you have to put in the time to get that great. So, but ultimately, just as far as like they're talking about their click ratios and the strategies, but for somebody just to be just good at it, they just have a natural knack for it and be able to spend just like 10 hours, 20 hours a week, and you get to be like the man at it, and you go to a tournament and maybe take home $100,000. It's fascinating. But although let me turn it on its head then. So let's say that the TSN, or is it ESPN, one of the sports channels now has a dedicated, or at least a bit of more of a following towards esports. So it's legitimizing a bit. Your kid comes to you and says,
Oh God.
I want to take 2 years. I don't want to go to college. I want to really dedicate myself and see if I can become a professional gamer. Like, what are you guys going to say?
I'm gonna turn into my dad. I'm gonna be like, I told my parents I want to become an artist. I want to do an artist full time. No, artists don't make money. That's gonna be me. I'm like, no, gamers can't make money. And then prove them wrong, right? Like that's gonna be the whole conversation again. I can feel it. I can feel myself turning into my dad.
Yeah. Well, I think the thing the one difference between an art career pursuit versus a competitive sporting pursuit. Competitive sporting, if you're an artist, yes, they make not exactly the most. It's not exactly the most lucrative career choice. I'll say that. It's a long road to success and monetary payback. But it is a career, and it is, if you are diligent enough, you get paid for the work you do. Something like in competitive esports, there's no guarantee on being compensated for your time. And I think that would be the one thing I'd be concerned about, is just you put all this effort into it, just for the hopes of maybe being that one person out of thousands that might, it almost becomes like a competitive lottery. Or like competitive poker. And I think my response to if my child was like, yeah, I want to take 2 years off before college and, join the World Poker Tour, I think I would feel the same way. I would be a little bit reluctant in the sense of it is a bit of a gamble. It's a skilled gamble, but you're putting yourself up against other individuals playing a game that may or may not pay off and may or may not reward you with the ability to have the freedom to not have to just eat ramen.
I thought that was the perk, frankly. But then, let me one last spin on it, and then I'll drop it. I promise. Because the other avenue around this, though, like beyond the competition, perhaps gets you some of the name recognition. But with Twitch and streaming, and for instance, PewDiePie from YouTube, at this point now is a multi-millionaire. He's done incredibly well. Has incredible life that way. And literally, he was just streaming video games. Like, here's me playing this video game. Now, I'm sure that, given that that's a fresh market, kind of a newer market, I'm sure that's going to settle in some ways. It's not really new or exciting in some ways as it was, but playing games is still a huge amount of traffic on YouTube, and that could be an entirely different thing if you have any sort of interesting take, a fun personality that you can apply as you're playing games. That might be something as well. So given PewDiePie and Twitch and these other avenues of revenue from playing games, that's could you see yourself doing that, or could you see allowing your kids to do it?
I'd be far more receptive to that idea, because you're creating content for broadcast. And it's a difference between winning a purse in a championship or creating content that people want to watch. And sure, the zeitgeist of YouTube changes and people will want something different in a few years, but you're still creating something that an audience wants to view and then be rewarded for that creation. And I think something like that, I'd be like, oh yeah, if you want to pursue that, pursue it, and just do a good job and hope for the best. It's less of a gamble because it's less of just straight up everybody competing for this one prize. Instead, it's like you are competing with other tubers for viewers and for audience, but it's based more on the merits of your work and less about how well you did that day.
Yeah, my thoughts on it would be like it could be more of a replacement for like a part-time job, I guess. You could stream at night, go to school during the day, and get your, your excess money, right? With and the beauty of it actually to stream to YouTube. Twitch, I think, has implemented where you can view past broadcasts. But the beauty of YouTube is that if you monetize it, that video kind of lives forever. So the amount of views can be done over a number of years, right? And you'd still get royalties off something that maybe you created 5 years ago. And say you have 100 videos like that, that could be an ongoing, moneymaker for you. So it's interesting.
It's something that you retain ownership of.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, and in some ways, with both of you being artists to some degree, like it's not entirely unlike your creation of content, much like you said, Gavin, and then taking that content and competing against other content.
Yeah.
And trying to get out. It's just a different medium in many ways. It all, for me, culminates to us being born like roughly 10 to 15 years too early.
With no internet.
Man, because it was just like, it used to be go to GameStop or access GB Games or whatever it's going to be, like buy a used copy of Final Fantasy and just grind it like 5 hours a day, like in my house on the weekend, like, and that was it. Like that's what gaming was. It was just this like smaller little piece, and now it's this market. It's huge. Like it's getting like Jimmy Kimmel is creating a whole comedy set piece about it on his show. Like it's definitely in popular culture, and we missed it, guys. We got kids. We got kids now. It doesn't work.
Well, yeah, yes and no, because like if you look at a lot of the games that people refer to as classics, we were around for when they weren't classics. We were around for when they were brand new on the shelf, where we were like saving up allowance money to go buy them. We might have been a little too early to catch late night talk show hosts trying to sell you on the idea of picking up the new version of Destiny, but we were there to pick up a fresh copy of Super Mario World, and I think that was its own unique special experience, where like right now it's huge, and there's things like esports and it's becoming more of a mainstream media pop culture phenomenon, but I think a lot of it's still trying to grasp some of that magic that happened back in the NES days in regards to the games that were timeless. Like even like games that are slowly starting to scratch back at that again are games like Splatoon, where there's just that it's starting to scratch that itch for a fresh new Mario Kart that's not just another Mario Kart. So yeah, I think I agree. Like we were a little early in regards to catching the really cool. It's like, hey, it's cool to be a gamer. Like, yeah, we missed that boat for sure. Because back when we did it, it was that thing where you're like, you hide that copy of Chippendale Rescue Rangers in your backpack and you scoot on home before the police catch you.
DuckTales.
Yeah.
Oh,
but in the sense, like we got to experience a different phase in the birth of the medium itself, which is something different. Whether it's more special or less special, that's that could be argued either way. But I think it's something very unique that we any of those times we feel like, oh, we missed the cool time. It's like, yeah, but we can be those old men shaking our cane in the sky going, I was there when it happened.
You think you know hard? Do you know Contra hard?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I hate Contra. I hate that game.
Ninja Turtles, sea level,
No.
water level. That
Battletoads.
Battletoads.
Oh god, that's the worst. Just like
Battletoads is my own personal measure of difficulty for gaming across. Like even if a brand new Halo comes out, it's like, yeah, but that, I don't know, that's speeder bike level on Battletoads. That's killer.
Yeah, and ultimately, like that's one of the most fascinating things for myself as we continue on with fatherhood is because we were there, like we were part of it. Like we came up with games, we came up through just an incredible console war where Sony and Microsoft just going back and forth trading blows, Nintendo as well, of course. So we get it. Like we're right in it, and we're still young enough at this point to follow the trends and understand it. Like Mario Maker comes, like it's not just Mario World, it's Mario Maker. People are sharing it online. It's social, and we're still young enough in that development that we get to be educated about it. So when the kids start to play it, we're there. Like we're right there with them, and that's got to be for me the most fascinating thing to see how this unravels. Is I am a gamer. Like I've played games all my life, and I still play games right now, and I plan to for a long time. Like what happens when my kid becomes a gamer? If he does, like maybe he hates them. He likes to read books or play sports or something. But because those are exclusive.
You're in a puddle.
It's like my kid picks up a book. I'm like, well, looks like you're a reader. That's a shame.
Slap it out of his hand. No, here's a cartridge.
Johnny? Do you care to explain this basketball to me? Huh? What do you
Found this under your bed.
Yeah, it's my friends. I swear.
Yeah.
But
well, the hockey puck for my friend. It's not.
Yeah, but if and when my kid becomes a gamer, like what does that relationship look like? What is this? What does it mean to have a dad who plays games?
Well, I can speak a little bit to that if you want to get into that. Having a 5-year-old, right? We got him a 3DS for his birthday this year, so he's officially a gamer.
It begins. Wow.
And we got him Mario Kart because I figured that was the easiest. You just turn the 3D off. I don't think the 3D is good for his eyes, so he just plays it 2D. Mario Kart 7. The kid has cleared every level by himself. Rainbow Road. He's 5.
What?
He's 5, so I'm thinking, like, back in my day, I would beg and plead my parents to get a Nintendo, and I was maybe, 8 or 9, so he's ahead of the game, and it's already in his system, and that eye-hand coordination is just, it's natural. So maybe that, the Major League Gaming or whatever it is something that he could do. I don't know, but maybe games are easier.
Here's actually a quick little question. Will gaming become so just kind of like a standard competition thing that happens? Will we start to see the induction of esports into like high school extracurricular?
I can totally see it.
Like something that's not like fully not like some provincial competition or something like that, but it's like the new chess club, or it's like you see like improv teams where it's a competition based on something that's not exactly mainstream but popular enough that high school students want to partake. It's like you start to see, rather than just like a bunch of high schoolers being like, okay, well, let's all congregate in the same basement and play a game. Now it's like, no, we actually have like the student council has approved our club, and we have access to the common area from this hour to this hour.
The only thing about that is I think it would go back to your earlier point. I don't know that it couldn't happen, but if there was a competitive advantage to finding additional time to play the game, like the kid who spends like an extra 30 hours a week like clicking away and becoming incredibly efficient at that game, like I would imagine that would be slightly detrimental depending on how competitive it is in this. Like I'm just trying to think about how they would structure it. Like if it was something like League of Legends or you guys got to help me out. There's another big one. It's killing
Dota?
me.
Is it Dota?
Dota, thank you. Man, that was
Dota, yeah.
it was like couldn't stand it because I know like that was the big one I wanted to talk about because
their lack of sleep.
Yeah, man, that was one because that's where some of the biggest tournaments are, and I've seen some competitive play, and it's just I know guys who play it competitively, and it's crazy. But as far as like the click rate, the strategy, the time and effort it takes to be good at it, and I just wonder if there would have to be some sort of level playing field where it's almost like there's not going to be a lot of benefit. Well, it's difficult to surmise because if you play a ton of chess and you continually play chess and you keep playing chess against better people, you become an incredible chess player. And there's chess leagues in school and chess clubs. So you know what I mean? Where it just feels like
person in the club who's like so good they're disliked. Like it doesn't matter whether it's track and field or chess club or improv or any sort of after school program. there's always going to be that one person who's either just a complete natural, you know, like Jeff's kid's going to be.
Yes.
You know, or the ones who are just doing it because they enjoy playing the game or they enjoy doing that activity. Like there will always be that one where it's just like the other kids are so envious and they just kind of shake their heads and fist at this other child for being so bloody talented. You know, and I think, yeah, there is that sort of idea too of trying to balance schoolwork and extracurricular as well, when it's an extracurricular that could be somewhat addictive and could be something that you would do at home. Like it's pretty hard to get addicted to football practice. Like, you know, it's an extracurriculator, but it's not like you're going to go home and run stairs. Like you're going to be,
son, you have to stop doing burpees, please.
Yeah. Just go to bed. Just stop burpees. Go to sleep. Just 10 more. Just 10 more.
You don't get me, Dad.
Yeah.
My life is burpees in practice.
So yeah, that makes for a curious concept about, like, would that be one of the first extracurricular activities that would actually start to interfere with a student's studies, because it's something they can also do at home, and that doing it at home makes it better for them next time they compete with the group. Yeah.
I think like along those same lines, I have a Facebook friend that's a teacher, and he's a media teacher, and he has gotten approved. I don't know how it fits into the curriculum, but an Oculus DK2 kit.
Wow.
For his class, and then he's met with the VP of Sony Canada and Microsoft, and has got tons of donations of games, systems, and other like accessories for the kids, and he's going to put this into his class. So I don't know how that fits in with what he has to meet in terms of like the curriculum goals, or what he's like a media teacher would. I'm trying to think of the exam that would be done. Like you beat Battletoads and you pass the class. Like, but maybe it's just
I
understanding.
could see it being something where they have these dev kits and these consoles so that they can start making some rudimentary independent games.
Yeah.
There's a lot of post-secondary programs now that focus on game design, and a lot of them would, a lot of students would have benefit going into this. Like, I remember my media arts class, the curriculum, not the teacher, like the teacher was great, but the curriculum was very just like, today we're going to teach you how to copy and paste. Oh. And I'm like, I know how to do that. And like I would see installed on the hard drive that there was a 3D animation suite. And I'm like, can I use this? And she's like, we don't know how to use that. It just got installed. And I convinced them to just give me the book, like the manual that came with the software. And it's like, can I just do this? Because the stuff you're doing, you covered in last year's curriculum too, and it's kind of starting to become redundant. So I could see a media arts program thirsting, because when I was taking media arts, it was that transition from analog to digital when it came to film editing. And like I remember having to hook up a VCR to a video card to input footage from a camera. And it was like this weird, like, slapped together duct tape and bubblegum mess. But it was during that weird transition where it's like you're using Avid Cinema and you have a camcorder recording on, you know, magnetic tape, and there's like a cue card reel-to-reel computer in the back room. You know, it was like a weird sort of like limbo. So I can see, I think that media arts teacher has got the right idea, because it's where things are going. And even just for kids to be able to get a hold of an old Xbox One and be able to take it apart and solder it and put it back together,
look at this ancient
gives them
technology.
a better understanding of how to work things.
Yeah, man, just a quick sidebar as a related story, but and I think it was kind of interesting for all of us, because we probably experienced the same thing where, like, we were the first wave of kids coming through where, like, we had computers at home, so we kind of knew what to do with them. They're like, okay, now we're going to learn how to, copy and paste. And it's like, yeah, I've kind of finished all the coursework already.
Yeah.
And I remember I did, within the first, like, 2 weeks of the course, I'd finished, like, all the coursework. Yeah. And I asked, like, what do I do? They're like, I don't know, like, just find a program and mess around. And I remember, like, for the entire rest of it, I used, I don't know if it's PowerPoint at the time, but some sort of slideshow thing to produce what was a 500 slide grotesque animation of clip art, where it was like a flock of penguins like marching across, like marching across the screen and like jumping off. wildly inappropriate for
He
school.
jerry
But
rigged a slideshow presentation into a stop motion animation.
yeah, and then like you could set. I remember you could set like automatically just just move forward in the slideshow presentation. So I said, yeah, just like jump forward like half a second. So I just had this like terrible, grotesque like penguin animation show, and that was what I did for the entire semester because I already finished all the coursework. Best A I've ever gotten.
Yep.
Yeah, but anyway, but and I guess I mean one of the as you're talking there, Gavin, and even with the Oculus Rift, and one thing that came to my mind immediately, I suppose, was Minecraft.
Yeah.
And you hear about some really interesting projects where people have entirely recreated entire cities. Like they put Copenhagen inside of a Minecraft world, and you set the kids inside of there and just let them run around. And the thought that you could have, four or an entire class of kids in the same world is building and experimenting and problem solving. Like he's like, all right, kids, like all of you have to get together, and inside of this Minecraft world, I need you to build, a sound structure, like a bridge to go across this river. Like go. And now like you're forming teams, you have to like cooperate and build. Like it could be like that in that sense where you're able to create these sandboxes where kids don't have physical limitations or even material limitations. I mean, you can't send kids to a river and have them build a bridge for very obvious reasons. But at the same time, you could send them into lava pits in Minecraft and just see what they come up with. Like it would be as far as I've heard from. I don't have any nephews at the right or nieces at the right age to see them, but apparently it's just a phenomenon of kids getting together, playing in each other's Minecraft world and creating.
Yeah, it's got a huge following with that, like, I guess kind of almost like a tween age group. But Minecraft is huge. It's absolutely huge.
It's digital Lego, right? It's this generation's Lego.
It's Lego where you can finally be the same size as the Lego person in the kit. And it's like you can build whatever you want and then run around it. Like, it's that whole playing make-believe on the rug in the middle of your living room and bashing things together, but now like you have special effects and particle physics, and it just makes it. And then not only that, but if you can play with your friend either in the same room or like over an internet connection on a rainy day, and I think that a game like that is a very important thing to come along because it does become, like as you said, like digital Lego. And even companies like Lego are jumping in on it. Have you seen that? There's like a Lego, like basically Lego Minecraft.
Yeah.
And like you can get different build kits, and basically like your character has like a build gun, and you just spray a house together. And it's just all sorts of wild stuff. And I think that's a lot of fun. It makes it more of a toy and less of a game, and less of just like an interactive entertainment.
Yeah, so I mean, and you gotta wonder about like there's a lot of talk about teaching kids to code, like to program, just like learning the basics of how to build something with like building software, and you gotta wonder if that starts to extend to building games, and especially in building games where they can learn something like Minecraft. So between the Oculus Rift and being able to build virtual realities like games within VR for all those different kits and building something within Minecraft and everything else, you could start to see some interesting curriculum choices and just learning. And then those are the kids that are going to come back to our houses, and we're going to play Mario Kart with them. I guess it'd be like Mario Kart 20 at that point. Or perfect. So the actual, so that was a decent sidebar.
Just a wee bit.
And actually, I think it's pretty fitting because I'm not sure how much meat the actual topic we has. So, but I think it's gonna put together some.
What was the topic again?
I'm not sure.
I have it written down here, so it ties everything up in a nice bow. Actually, so the kid is at school programming and playing Minecraft all day, or competitive DOTA, whatever they are, the new esports champion. He comes home. And he just drives you nuts. And now you are just in an agitated state. Terrible day at work. Kids going crazy. Are games at this point, and I think Jeff's going to have the most insight into it because me and Gavin are still pretty fresh to this, but are games a outlet for you? So like feeling sad or down, feeling stressed, and now I need to blow something up, I need to punch some things in a game. And ultimately just like even you can go back to your normal life, Gavin, if you can remember what it's like all those many months ago before your bundle of joy. Like,
Yeah.
have you ever used, and are you currently using games as any sort of release or outlet?
I have in the past, like, there's always, but I find sometimes the thing I like doing in a game that calms me down the most, actually probably one of the main game that I grab and play, or at least back when I used to do it more often in regards to therapy session, would be the Just Cause series. And
Yeah.
it wasn't as much for like mayhem and destruction and stuff, although that game is wonderful for it. It was more things like just doing stunts. It's the same thing I do when I play Grand Theft Auto. It's like, can I jump this quad bike onto the back of a moving train? And by the way, yes, I can. But that's sort of the stuff that I find is the relaxing aspect of it, is just like, I just want to fly an airplane. I'm going to see if I can weave it in around some buildings and maybe like, crop dust a highway and just things, just having fun in an environment with no consequence. And I think that might be actually the therapeutic part about it, is that like sometimes the thing that's frustrating you, or the thing that you need to find an outlet to balance. Sometimes that is a situation that you're in where there are consequences to making the wrong choice, and that can be very stressful. So to be able to play in a world where there are really no hard consequences, like your character might die or fall in a pit and you got to start the level again, but oh well. You get a do-over, you get a mulligan. It's that sense of being able to play without that looming sense of I can't mess this up, or else there's some responsibility to be had afterwards. I think that's the escape of it. It's not the catharsis, although that can be very therapeutic in itself. That just watching a nice big plume of fiery smoke over the horizon, just because the super mutant gave you a funny look. That catharsis aside, there is something about playing in a world where it's just like nothing matters. I can do something today, and it doesn't matter. No one's going to be hurt. No one's going to be let down. No one's going to be disappointed. I can do whatever I want. So that's kind of my take on games as a balancing act.
Yeah, I'm kind of along the same lines as Gavin. Kind of a sandbox world. Infamous was great because you were just filled with superpowers. You go around,
Yeah.
do whatever you want. You can fly.
Hulk Ultimate Destruction for the
That one
kids
was good too.
That's like one of my all-time favorite. Just sandbox. I'm gonna fart around for a bit.
Yeah.
And just blow off some steam.
Yeah, very hard to kill you. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Now that being said, there are scenarios where, like, say it's the weekend, I'm doing, this big road trip with the kids. I've got, a CD spinning with, the alphabet song and Wheels on the Bus. And I get home and I just don't want to relax. I just want a game that is fast and like cutthroat, and you go and you give her and you just like energy. You get out of that world for a second. So like hitting like racing games like the Need for Speed series, or like even Drive Club now, that's kind of back up to par. Just fast, quick motion.
Yeah.
Just kind of gets that out. Other days, if it's like too stressful and I don't want a time limit or anything, Flower was a great one. You just part around on that, and I don't care. I'm all serene Zen, kind of mode, get your mind recharged and then go to bed. And it kind of puts you to sleep, that one. Whereas, it depends on the mood, what you're doing that day. If it's a weekday
that's a really
or
good point.
weekend.
Like, it depends on what mood you're trying to counteract.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the game you gravitate towards. Is it something where it's like, I just need some high octane, I just need to go for a rip. That's when you pick up something like Burnout.
Yeah, that's exactly the one I was going to say, just because those cars, what was great about Burnout is it just felt so
crunchy.
Yeah, crunchy and visceral. Like you would hit a wall or hit another player, and it just felt like I really mangled that meta. Like, that's great.
Yeah, that was that was a really good series. I'm kind of sad to see it sort of slip by the wayside.
Yeah.
Because that was always come to think of it, like that was one of the ones where it's like I just need a good boost of adrenaline to flush my brain out.
Yeah.
And that would be one of the ones I chuck in. They usually would be able to acquire some really solid music. So it'd just be like just heart pumping, grind a car into a guardrail until it does that wonderful little pop up into the air and a little flip and
Slow motion
follows it. And then you see it wrap around a tree, and then you go back to racing. You're just like, oh. That was a very wonderful coping mechanism for when I was early in my art career.
You speak about
maybe I a little too frequently used that as a coping mechanism. But, oh well.
Yeah, you speak about adrenaline. I actually kind of screwed myself recently with that. Although I mean, I swear to God, I'm going to play some different games soon, but like it was Hearthstone again. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, I thought you were going to say The Crew. I was just going to like close the stream. Like that's it.
It's over. That's, well, it's not that much better because I'm saying like, you want to talk adrenaline. Let me tell you about this card game. Oh, man.
Have you seen the Wizard yet? Have you seen the Wizard yet?
Oh, no, I've not seen the Wizard yet.
I'm going to bug you every week.
Oh, we got to get that list going, but I have not seen The Wizard.
Yeah, well, Rocky's on there too.
Have not seen Rocky. Have not seen Terminator.
Rambo? Rambo's on there.
Have not seen Rambo. Have not seen Jaws.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty sad. I got to get.
So was your family like in a bunker?
I wish where I was yesterday.
I wish I
like
had
you're
that
from
kind of
Ottawa. Did you like grow up in the Deepin bunker?
So I'm actually from just outside Toronto. It was a cow town, just like 1,000 people in it. But that wasn't the excuse. It's just we didn't have cable, and as a really active kid, and then on like downtime, like so we didn't have cable. So at the time that those movies were becoming available, just on channel flipping, I didn't get them. And then when most of the free time, it was either sports or video games. So it just never came around. And then college, I was busy. And next thing you know, I'm this grown-ass man with a baby, and I have not seen...
And you guys razzing about what you haven't seen. See, like, with me, it was more... Like, my mom was, like, a bit of a movie enthusiast and that. And she actually worked at a theater for a bit when I was a kid. So I got to see, like I up in the projector booth and stuff. Like, she was managing a theater in her town. So I was watching, like, Indiana Jones and Last Crusade next to the projection. So... That was pretty fun stuff. But yeah, it would be like I think I would jump between video games and movies because that's what the corner store would have the rentals. So I'd rent one of each kind of thing. It's like I'd rent a video game, like an NES cartridge and a VHS tape, and then run home. And that would kind of be it.
And my bit of a problem too is like we had this video store in town, and it had all the good stuff too. But my friends and I got into this habit of trying to find the worst movie. So we got like all this.
Oh yeah, so it didn't pop up.
So we watched like just some of the most offbeat, terrible, god awful movies, and we just kept trying to one up each other and find it. So a lot of the movie experiences were just these hilarious, without trying to be movies, of the dumb like.
So you spent all your movie watching time exclusively on B movies.
On terrible, man. I would call these C movies. These things are so bad, like. I don't know where they found them. I don't know why on earth a video store would have these. But, yeah, sorry to get back. So besides movie time and my embarrassing list of things I haven't watched, I screwed myself because the baby goes down to sleep. He's finally down. It was a really bad night. And I was like, okay, I'm going to play just a couple quick games of Hearthstone. There's a couple modes. Like, one is, like, ranked, so... I mean, it ultimately doesn't matter, but it still matters a bit because if you win, you go up. If you lose, you go down. And there's a scene every month. Otherwise, there's a thing called Arena where you kind of pay some in-game currency, and if you do well, you get a lot of reward back. So it's kind of the game's quote-unquote means something. And I remember playing a couple of this Arena game, and I had all this adrenaline flowing because I wanted to win. Like I want to make sure I win this game. And I was like, okay, time to put this. Lost 2 games, did terribly. Like, all right, time to put this down and go to sleep. And no, there was no sleeping. I was up for the next like 3 hours, because I had all this adrenaline pumping, like in combination, I'm sure with 100 other things, but. So by the time I finally get to sleep, baby's not going to sleep anymore.
Yeah.
So I missed this beautiful little window of sleep because I'd pumped myself up with a damn card game of all things, just kicking myself. But I can remember as far as myself. Like I remember, like there's like snowboarding games, skateboarding games. I found very lethargic, where it's just. You find a line and you're just like carving it. It's a slow, like steady movement as you're going down the mountain. You come off this one jump and you're doing like a couple flips around. It is something about, and that speed, much like you guys mentioned before, seems to play a factor into it. But just that ability to get into that flow and release everything and just calm down and relax. Mm-hmm. And in fact, maybe that's what I should have done. I should have got all hyped up from a dumb card game, come downstairs and played some snowboarding, set myself back down, go to bed.
Yeah. There's games though that I won't touch. I don't know about you guys, but like anything horror, anything that would stress you out. PT, if you ever heard of PT, that demo on PS4.
I haven't had a chance to check it out yet, but I snagged the download before they pulled it down.
Yeah, I still have it. I will never play more than 5 minutes of it, because I'm going to scream like a little girl, and the kids are going to wake up. So I'm not going to play those games. That Outlast, I've installed them. I have not played them. But no horror games.
I was playing a lot of Alien Isolation, and Lindsay would laugh at how much I would scream. Because I put headphones on and everything, and I'd just be off in the corner. I was playing it on the PC, and it was a very, like, jump scare heavy game. And just like you can hear it in the rafters, and like I really do love horror games, and there's been a few times where I've played a horror game a little too close to bed, and not been up because I've been scared.
Sure, you got
it. Hey, I got a night late. I'm all right. But no, my adrenaline would be going, and it's just like that sort of like your heart's been racing, and it's like you've been chased around a dank space station by some giant critter. It can get you going. But yeah, I think I hadn't even really thought of that yet, but I am a bit of I can be a vocal game player, so I could see not wanting to play something like Alien Isolation or Outlast, something that really can just jump and get you out of the couch. I could see myself screaming and waking up the whole family. So,
oh man, that would have to. That'd be one of the worst. Just like you finally get the kid down. I'm just gonna relax a little bit here, play a quick little game, and then you scream from terror and wake him up, and just no, you're down.
You need like one of those leather things that like they make people bite on in the Old West when they pull a bullet out of your leg. You need like one of those in your mouth, just so that way, just to muffle the sound.
I'm sure your dog will lend you a stick if you ask nicely.
Yeah.
You got one left. There's a chew toy somewhere.
I got a squeak toy in my mouth. Like, what was all that squeaking? I was playing a horror game. Why was there squeaking? Don't ask.
You have your game stream is ready to go. Like hop up on Twitch. Like
there it is.
Man with squeak toy. And just
yeah. You just launched your new career. There you go.
So there's like squeak toy going crazy because like the aliens like coming up on you.
My dog's just confused, barking at me.
Yeah, man, that'd be the highlight of the show. Like, how long does your dog take before he attacks you to get back that toy because you're driving him nuts? That'd be perfect. $1 million idea. You're done.
Yep, done. Retired. That's how it's like, so how do you put your kid through school? Well, funny story. I played video games on the internet with a squeak toy in my mouth. And? No, that's it. It's
your hook.
Paid for 4 semesters of post-secondary.
Also, I'm an artist.
Also, I'm an artist.
Yeah.
Oh.
Perfect. And with that, guys, I think I'll suggest that we wrap it up for the week.
With that lovely visual.
Yeah. Let's end on a high note, if we will. So everyone, this has been New Dad Gaming. If you'd like to get in contact with us, come to our website at newdadgaming.com. We do this once a week. Any questions, thoughts, or games that we should check out. And we will see you next week. I'm Trevor, and I have a 3-month-old.
I'm Gavin. I have a 6-week-old.
And I'm Jeff. I have a 5-year-old and a 2.5-year-old.
So many babies.
A lot. No more babies.
Perfect. That's
Say
great,
that
guys.
now.
See you next week, everybody.
All right.
See you later.